Hello, everyone. Welcome back to the Wholehearted Men Show with your host, Sonica. Every day in the news, we stand witness to examples of a world in which more and more men are showing up broken, misdirected, aggressive, violent, emotionally and mentally unstable. There's a visible lack of emotional intelligence evident in male culture that needs education and rehabilitation. We need to teach men how to love. On the Wholehearted Men Show, we explore how to help men live life with heart. The Wholehearted Men Show is sponsored by the Institute for Wholehearted Men, whose primary goal is to nurture the emotional and mental health of men so they can engage with the world wholeheartedly. Join us as we take this journey to change the hearts of men, one conversation at a time.
The Wholehearted Men Show. The Wholehearted Men Show. The Wholehearted Men Show.
Patricia Kimberly Abate Opperman Knox is married with one son, Noel, and a daughter-in-law, Malia, who reside in Austin, Texas. She's also raising 3 stepsons who reside in Mississippi and visit her and her husband, Keith, in Texas often. Patricia worked several years as a parole officer and probation officer for the state of Texas, recruited to public schools where she worked as a counselor and instructor for many years, where she developed an articulated criminal justice program for Lexington High School. She served as a principal the last few years before switching careers. She's been an elected school board member for 6 years for Lexington ISD. She's served as a school district president for 3 years, and she joined career education in July 2008 with Everest Institute in Austin, Texas. She spent 12 and a half years in the for-profit school business. She has worked with IEC at Florida Career College and Southeastern College, where she spent almost 5 years. Her primary responsibility has been to focus on operations and complete turnarounds of campuses. Her areas of specialty include compliance as well as operations. And she returned to Texas July of 2019 after assisting Cortiva Institute, Stein Education Group, with teaching out their main campus. She has a Bachelor of Science degree in Corrections and Sociology from Southwest Texas State University, a Master's in Counseling and Psychology from Prairie View A&M, and she's certified in Texas as a school counselor, and she's also received 2 Masters in Education Leadership. Please join us here at the Wholehearted Men Show as we welcome Patricia Kimberly Abate Opperman Knox, whom we fondly call Kim. Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Wholehearted Men Show. I'm sure you've listened to our intro of Kim Knox, and Kim and I actually go way back. We've worked together or in the same organization for, I think I joined Corinthian in 2007. I think it was 2007. Yeah. So we've known each other or of each other. Before we officially met, we kind of knew of each other within the industry. She was out in Texas and I was here in Maryland. She was a campus president and I was an academic dean. And when we were working in Corinthian, lots of real healthy competition between schools and all that good stuff. And I am, very proud of the fact that I was usually in the number 1 or number 2 spot for several months. I think maybe 13 months in a row. So we knew each other by reputation, and then I, at some point in, I think it was 2016, April 2016, I moved down to Florida. I had been asked to go down there by another one of our previous workmates, Michael, and he asked me if I would go down there, not knowing that Michael had been asking many of his former workmates to see if they could join another school, Florida Career College, where I went down for a year. And guess who was there? Kim, working out of another school. Actually, before she worked out of another school, as you've heard on her bio, she was our regional VP doing, she was all over the place, helping all the schools and different schools. And then eventually she localized to one campus, I think West Palm Beach, right?
Yes, that's where I settled.
Yeah, she settled West Palm Beach, and then she was shunted off to where I was, which was Lauderdale Lakes. But I love her dearly. Like on my list of people I love, she's like right up there at the top. And we have a whole bunch of, we have a whole bunch of great memories. But I brought her here in this episode of Ordinary People with Extraordinary Stories because she has a extraordinary story which I was a part of. I witnessed and engaged in a very scary, interesting, life-changing moment. I will set the stage, and then I'm going to take a back step and let Kim kind of take us through. So one of the things Kim used to do when she was our campus director at Lauderdale Lakes is every Friday I'd have this end of week meeting with my team. And they'd be in my office, conference table, and they'd be sitting there, would be talking. And Kim used to like come and bully me and bully my team, sit there and, how we doing, all this kind of stuff. And it was our every Friday thing. We would sit there, talk. After my team leaves, Kim would sit there and do her work from my conference table while I was doing my work. And then at some point it would be like, hey, it's time to go. You got to go, and blah, 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 that kind of thing. But she'd be talking the whole time, right? She'd be talking and jibber jabbering, would be talking about stuff. I'd be tic-tacking. She's writing. She had this book where she wrote everything, like little tiny writing. She like very neat, tiny writing. She'd write. It was filled with stuff. And so I was sitting there and, my chair slightly turned, and that's how it would normally be. I'd be looking at my computer, which was this side, should be this side on my conference table. And on this day, she didn't talk. She was quiet. And you know how it is, you're working and you don't necessarily notice, but then something tells you, wait a minute, something is different here. So I turn over and, I turn my head, and I look. And I look at her face and she just doesn't look right. Like it was almost like the blood had just been sucked out of her face. And so I looked at her, I said, Kim, are you okay? And I'll step back and let the story go from there.
And I said, no, I don't think I'm okay. I'm going to go call my husband. And at that point, I realized when Sonica brought it to my attention that it was more than just not feeling right, because I was never sick. Like, I'm the type of person that I've only had the flu one time in my whole life. I can tell you when, what year, in 2012. I've only been sick twice in my entire life. And this was about to be one of them. I started feeling nauseated. I somehow wandered back to my little office away from Sonica. And I remember calling my husband, but I really don't remember the conversation. Our mutual friend and worker, Michael, he actually said, I think you need to go home. I'm usually very full of energy, and I couldn't get my thoughts straight at all. I don't even remember driving home. Like, I know that probably out of habit, I went and jumped on the turnpike from Fort to Boynton Beach because I lived a little north. At that point, I think I drove myself to a little clinic, emergency clinics right by my house, and I went in. And they told me, oh, you're fine. You just have some kind of virus or whatever. And I told them, no, I don't. But they wouldn't listen to me. And so I went home. And I remember bits and pieces of being very ill. I text our mutual friend, Michael, and said, I'm not going to be able to come in. The next day, I stayed in bed. And by Saturday morning, I believe, my husband had to help me walk into the emergency room at Bethesda West Hospital in Boynton Beach. I couldn't talk anymore by this point. And I couldn't really think, but I really couldn't talk. So he had to talk for me. I remember making it back to one of the emergency rooms where they hold you. And, I don't know how many other hours went by. But something that stands out in my mind was whenever my husband must have ran home to check on my stepsons because they were there visiting. It was during the summer, July 2016. And he actually, a nurse called him and said, we're going to have to induce a coma and she's not going to make it if we don't do it right this very minute because her kidney is no longer functioning. Well, so all of a sudden I found my voice. Like my voice has been lost, but I've been thinking this whole time. So I spoke out and I said, you can't put me in a coma. I'm from Texas. You're Florida. I said, my family's not here. Just random. Random thoughts, right?
I'm sorry. I'm sorry. Knowing you, you know what I'm saying? I'm actually picturing that, half dead, talking about you can't put me in a coma. I'm from Texas. I'm from Texas.
I know, but these are just days that, that happen when we're going through all of this. So then I guess immediately Keith didn't even make it back to the hospital, which we only lived 5 minutes away. And they must have induced a coma. And I was in a coma for 3 weeks, where I think the first, Sonica can share more since he was part of it, but I believe they thought I was going to pass away the first 3 to 5 days. Infectious disease doctors from Miami, about 7 of them came and to find out what was wrong with me because I was just a healthy middle-aged female, never smoked, drank a little, never did drugs. Just never female problems, nothing. Here I was with all my organs shutting down. This is before COVID, by the way.
Right.
So,
right. This is 2016, I think, right?
Yes, July 2016.
Yeah, 2016. And I remember, I think, coming back to work that Monday, right? Not hearing anything, coming back. I can't remember if there was a text that went out Sunday. Michael sent out a text on Sunday or something. Because I think Keith had informed Michael or something at some point.
Yes, Keith had called Michael when Michael was walking out of church on Sunday morning. And Michael thought it was me. And so he answered, he said, hey, what's up? And Keith informed him that I was in a coma and I was at Bethesda West Hospital and things weren't looking that good.
Right. And I think he sent, I think he sent out a text. So Monday comes and there wasn't clarity as to, Monday comes and I think we're in the office and I'm asking, I'm asking 100 questions. And nobody could answer me. Nobody could really give me what it is that I needed. Because I was like, what the heck's going on? Blah, blah, blah. Where is she? What's the diagnosis? What are they saying? But because all we knew is that she's in a coma. And I think what got me probably a little bit was there was almost this thing like, oh, everybody was like, oh, she'll get better. And we'll, people were kind of making it look like, oh, we'll go out there when she gets better. You know what I mean? Which to me just did not compute. It just didn't make sense to me. And I had, for our audience, I was in a place where I was in Florida. I hadn't moved, my family was still here in Maryland, and I had not moved cars or anything down there. I was, I had just arrived April and this was July. I think I was in a hotel for like a month, I'm saying, most of April. And then got into a house, I think, in May. And so I had to figure out how to get out to Boynton Beach. And if you kind of know Florida, if you've ever been to Florida, the distance between, Tamarack / Lauderdale Lakes area, and over on Boynton Beach, you have to, you need cars in Florida, and there ain't no buses, and the bus system is not reliable and all that good stuff. So figured out, I think I rented a car or something, went out to the hospital. I can't remember. It was actually a work day, right? It was during work time, and I was like, I'm out. But no, the second time is when I found your son. Second time
Yeah.
is when I found your son. Yeah, I think the first time I came, I was by myself, and I don't
Okay.
think there was anybody there. Literally, the first time I came, I think I came to visit, and there was nobody there. And they asked me, who I was, blah 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 blah, and that's the first time I actually just got to like see you. You know what I mean? And it was unbelievable. It was unbelievable to just see how the lively, alive Kim just lying there with tubes.
Yeah.
And again, like I said, I was because I didn't know Keith by then, right? I knew of Keith, but it
Yes.
felt like we had met, and I was phone, so I was relying on Michael. I was really relying on Michael to give us the news, and Michael to follow. So I think you were out for a minute, and then your son eventually showed up, right?
Yes. So
Your son
when
and his fiance or girlfriend at the time, I can't remember what she was.
they had just gotten married 2 weeks prior over
Ah,
in because she's from the island of Kauai. And so it took Noel, my son, a little while to fly from Kauai whenever he found out on Saturday. As soon as I went into coma, Keith called Noel, but Noel had to make arrangements to fly. And it takes about 21 hours to fly. And so my sister, Lynette, that was in Texas, she jumped on a plane. And then my best friend, Becky, from Dallas, she jumped on a plane, and they were there by Sunday, both of them. And I think that's the reason why I haven't, gotten to the middle and end yet. But the reason why I didn't lose any fingers, toes, or anything is because my sister, from the moment she got there, continuously massaged my hands and feet, and she was sitting there moving me around so that whatever was wrong with me, because she kept trying to figure out what was wrong with me. And my sister she's always done research in medical areas. And my friend Becky, for about 15, 16 years, she worked for pharmaceutical companies. He knew quite a bit. So they both, and then Noel showed up then, I guess, after 3 or 4 days or so. And then the second time you went is when you met Noel and
right,
Malia.
on the weekend. Yep. And I walked in, and they were sitting on the chairs, and they were, again, like I said, they were they were magnanimous, and I think that's when I brought the card, like the card for you, and so on and so forth. But we had limited conversation. You, of course, were not. We were still in kind of the same shape. And then, so tell us about the middle. Okay, so this is the beginning, and it's like, okay, so now you are there, and they're still trying to figure out what's wrong. Your sister and your friend are there, and so let's move us into this middle part now. What happens next?
So what I remember next is, so I was in the coma, I guess, for about 15 days or so, maybe a little bit more. The next thing I remember is opening my eyes and Noel, my son, and Malia praying over me. And they were praying, and I looked at my son's face and I smiled, and I felt it. I had felt his presence. I felt you, Sonica, like, and Dave Wyford, that Dave came to see, he snuck up the stairs to see me because he wasn't supposed to be in there.
Yeah.
And so I woke up and I had all those tubes and everything. I didn't know really what was going on, but I saw my son, so I knew everything was going to be okay. And so then Malia ran out of the room to get a nurse because, I hadn't been awake in a long time. And the nurse walked in the room and she looked at my son and she said, now she's slowly waking up, but don't expect her to talk.
Right.
Because, she's had all the tubes down her throat. It scars your esophagus. It's going to hurt her vocal cords, all these things. And I remember hearing her say that. And then my son was so happy that I was waking up that he said, oh, you don't know my mom. Is going to be talking, telling me everything, all this other stuff. So I do remember, Sonica, that Noel and Malia went and stood outside, and I closed my eyes, and then I felt all the pressure of them removing all of that stuff.
Right.
And so then they came back in there, and I was so thirsty. I had to use my little Southern charm to get ice chips because that's all they would give you. And they only wanted to give me a little bit of time.
Right.
And usually I'm not a very dishonest person. I'm a very honest person to a fault. But I had to figure out a way to get more ice chips. So I would hide my cup.
Sounds like you.
And I would be really charming and nice. I mean, how can you be charming and nice and you're in a hospital gown? All your hair's piled on your head. All of it, my long hair.
And one of the things I should share is Kim is very particular. Trust me, very, very particular. Her nails, her hair,
all of that. And my sister.
This was, I think what people sometimes don't realize is that that a hospital can sometimes be like a very undignified, kind of experience. But it's so essential because everything just, you're down to the bare knuckles. You know what I mean? You're down to your barest of humanity, where you actually are relying on other people to like save your life. The goodness and the knowledge of other people. You're completely helpless, and there's not even a place to think about my lipstick, my hair, you know what I'm saying? My hair, my this, my that. And like you said, being in a hospital gown that's open in 3 places in the back, you know what I mean?
Yes.
And all that kind of place. It's not that, but it goes out the window just looking at the helplessness that a person is in and the need. And so I just wanted to add that. Keep going with your stolen ice cubes.
They're not stolen. I just had to try to manipulate them to give me more because I was so thirsty, like the thirstiest I've ever been in my whole life. I felt very, at peace, and probably like after the first day, then all these infectious disease doctors came. And by the way, whenever I was in the coma, they tested me for Ebola, for Zika, for anything that was going on during that 2016.
Right, because they had no clue.
No, they had no clue. And they were like, and then my husband, he works down in Miami. He thought, what if I got Zika and I just didn't have any symptoms and somehow I gave it to her? I mean, they were like all over the place thinking, well, come to find out, I had toxic shock syndrome.
Explain to our listeners and viewers what that is.
Okay. Well, the majority of my doctors that were infectious disease doctors were from other countries, and they shared with me that they don't allow their women in other countries to use tampons. And I never used tampons until I was about 35 years old. But grandma, all the old Italians, they would go, that's not good for you. It's, poison and whatever. But then I was older and I thought, well, they're convenient. So I was still a female that had a normal cycle. I was just moving right along, no problems at all. And my body, at least the infectious disease doctors, they seem to think because I was traveling a whole bunch. I had flown to Kauai for my son's wedding. And then, I was never staying at home. And then I had to fly to Arizona to go help our company out, Sonica. They were having a visit or something at one of the schools. And then I went to Georgia to go help out that campus. And then we went to Mississippi to go get the boys back from Mississippi to stay with us in Florida. So during that time, I was having my cycle, and I probably, I didn't sleep in anything, but I probably left the product in me too long, and it started becoming toxic. So then your kidneys start shutting down, the poison spreading all over your body.
Right.
I had to go to infectious disease doctors for at least 6 months after I was released, because they actually did a study on me, because I'm one of the only ones that have lived. And now I've recovered like fully, where I'm thinking and moving and shaking and running schools, being on top of my game still.
And I think for my listeners, especially because it's the Wholehearted Men Show, one of the things that I think is important for men to realize is that there are lots of things that women go through that we take for granted. You know what I mean? That we take for granted. That and I know, even for me, who's been been married for decades, that women's bodies. I realize my ignorance over a period of time about women's bodies, what women go through, their cycles, because you learn them in biology in school, but not with the kind of awareness that you would have as an adult, who's maybe you're literally like married to somebody who is going through these cycles every month, you know what I'm saying? Every month, and has to do things like you said, has to figure out, okay, how do I manage it? How some women have cramps, some women don't. Some women, they go through it in a painful way. Some women, it messes with how they're thinking and how it's like. And I don't think a lot of men appreciate that. We just kind of treat it like, oh yeah, the woman's going through a thing, and when is it over? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So to kind of hear you explaining how something that women go through just as part of just being a woman can turn into something that is life-threatening, literally.
Yes.
And I thought you were going to die. I'm just going to say it. I thought you were going to die. And I think what really kind of like hurt me was, even like I said, when I think about how we were managing through the information and everything and the conversations I was having, and people, it was, yes, there was the part where people were like, oh, let's pray. And we literally, I remember us praying in a meeting, literally like praying for you in a meeting.
That's beautiful.
Exactly. I remember us praying in a meeting, like, stopping and saying, let's pray for Kim, Zelda, myself, of course, Dr. A,
Oh, yes.
We all just were like, look, we're going to pray for Kim. But
yes,
I wasn't willing. I think what really impacted me was it changed a switch in my head about relationships and people. Because what I said to myself, and I think I shared this with you, you and I have talked about this. I said, I will never want to be the friend who waits.
Yes.
I would never be the friend who waits. I would never be the friend who waits, because the idea that, oh yeah, the hope that, oh, she's going to get well and we'll see her when she's well. My thing was, if she dies and I have not shown up and I was not present. I did not at least fight my way there to see her for myself, I would never forgive myself. And that's what resonated with me through that time. So as you were talking about that, it just, like, the word go for me became, just go. Just go.
Yes.
That's when the weekend when I came, when like Noel and his wife were there, and then when I caught you when you were awake. Because to me it was just, I just could not. It wasn't possible for me to hear the dialogue that people were having, which was a hopeful dialogue. But I was like, yeah, you can't hope from far.
No,
You know what I mean?
Appreciate you being present, because I feel like I did feel your presence. Anybody that was there, I felt your presence, and I've always respected you, Sonica, and
Thank you.
admired you. And yes, I used to sit in your office for hours, even when I was in the regional compliance role,
Right.
traveling. I would come because actually I trusted you, because I don't, debrief with anyone, but you're at a different level. And I was, always appreciated that I could come there and debrief and throw around ideas. And yes, I do write down everything, even now in a little book.
You should show our viewers your little book. Literally, she had like a journal. Yeah,
this is for
filled.
today. Look.
Yeah, and
Filled
she
with
had
my ideas.
You probably have like 29 to like within 2
Every
months.
6 months, I probably fill up one. Yeah,
just like
I go through
literally, that was Kim. I was walking around with this book. I'm like, what are you writing? And she's like, here, look at this. And then when you go and read it, you're like, she's like written in one corner. She's like written 6 lines, and then there's another one.
So, Sonica, do you want me to share with your listeners what happened whenever
Yes, we the whole story.
Okay.
I'm taking these breaks because it's putting me in the moment. And when you when you like broke down this thing, I had to stop you, because I know that one of the things that I have purposed myself with the Wholehearted Men Show is really educating men. Educating men and bringing whether it's stories just about what trying to be a better man is, but also just engaging women, because I know there are lots of things that we don't know about women. And I think men are from Venus, women are from Mars, or is it the other way around?
Yeah, I think it's the other way around.
Yeah, the other way around. Whatever. All I know is that we are purposely different for a reason.
Yes.
But I think that there's still a lot of mystery. And I know for me and a lot of the men that I know and I speak to, we're not that smart when it comes to dealing with and understanding women.
Well, it's just awareness, right. Like with you back in the old days, because you and I are about the same age. So back in the old days, women didn't really talk about female issues or anything you were going through, because it wasn't proper, especially like coming from Texas, the way I was. I didn't even talk to my husband.
Africa, yeah.
Oh, I bet.
Yeah.
Yes.
Forget about that.
Yeah.
But anyway,
that's something private, right? Okay. So then I woke up, and then I started to becoming more and more aware. So after about 2 or 3 days, I couldn't stand that ICU room, because it's like people were in there like constantly, everything else. And so I asked him, what do I need to do to get into my own room? And they said, you have to walk.
Wow.
My God, you have to walk. And so I started going to physical therapy, I think on the second day, where a physical therapist, a doctor, would come in and he would work me out, and boy, it hurts so bad. But I'm hard-headed. And if you tell me I have to do something to get to a goal, I'm going to push through it. But
and this is actually a fact that coming out of her mouth. Yeah, it's actually a fact. She is very hard-headed, and if you give her a goal, trust me, bust down doors to get it. That's
I will.
yeah. She's and by the way, don't let her southern charm fool you. She's a bulldog. So keep.
I'm a, especially when it comes to education and protecting
Yep.
kids
She is
and
a bulldog.
students, and I'm an advocate. Yes,
Right.
I don't care who's in front of me. Um, but okay, so on I think the second day I was doing physical therapy, that man said, he said, okay, I want you to do your exercises and then I'm going to come back. I said, well, if I walk all the way down the hall by myself and come back, will you approve for me to get my own room? He said, you can't do that. You can't walk yet. You've been in a coma for 3 weeks, whatever. And I said, well, after I do my exercises, my legs are going to be really strong. So come back in 15 minutes and then I'm going to walk to the hall. He said, you can't hold my arm. You have to walk by yourself. And yes, I made myself. I probably had a few tears coming out of my eyes, but I was smiling at the same time. I made myself walk to the end,
Wow.
the hospital wing and back. And yes, it hurt really bad, but I wasn't about to just sit there and cry and feel sorry for myself. So it was just the beginning of me coming back. And Sonica, you got to, I went through a lot. I then stayed at home another, 2 or 3 weeks, trying to get my legs strong enough to even walk or drive the car. But that wasn't the worst of it. The worst of it, and you can laugh at me, Sonica, but the worst of it was when I started losing all my hair. That
You never told me about that one.
Okay, because you probably, I think I told Michael, but I probably was so embarrassed. And also then I went to doctors to make it stop. But, I have so much hair anyway, whatever. But just clumps in my hair because of the toxic shock started coming out. Just of my hands, all the skin, and my feet and my legs, all the skin peeled off. People realize all these after effects, but off, not like just you have dry skin, but in just the whole layer would come off.
Wow.
When I was in that state, it killed all my skin, which means when it kills all your skin, it's killing all your hair, too. And so I ended up getting sent to a West Palm Beach dermatologist that gave me some kind of topical solution to start regrowing my hair again. But that just crushed me. I know and I'm not a very vain person. I don't think I'm a very vain person.
You're not vain, but you like to look good.
Oh yeah, but that's just how I was raised. I was
That's
raised.
what I'm saying.
Good.
You're not vain, but you do like to look good, Kim. Okay.
I like to look good. I couldn't just be smart. I had to be smart and good personality and be attractive somewhat. So that's what I went through. And when I was in a coma, and yes, I need to lose weight right now, but I don't want to be in a coma. When I was in a coma, I lost about 35 or 40 pounds. I was just like a baby stick. That's it. I know you want to make a comment, Sonica, but
trust me, I am smarter than that. I will shut up.
I was just a little stick, and then I was losing my hair. So it probably took me a good year to quit feeling foggy. I would say after about 6 months, my brain started working again because I was vitamin B deficient and all of that. And then they sat me over in West Palm Beach to run that school, and you were in Fort Lauderdale. But I started feeling stronger and stronger and stronger.
Your memory wasn't as strong because you have a pretty strong brain. You know what I mean? But your memory at that time, I remember because you came. Remember when you first came, and I saw you. We were doing that hallway thing. We always just do. I'd play music, and students would be walking in.
Yes.
Walk through the door. Yeah. First time you came back, and I was looking at you, and I could see even your walk. I could see your labor. You know what I mean? You were laboring to walk a little bit. Kim always she likes her heels. She likes her heels, and but when you see Kim wear flats, you know, you know
Something's
either
wrong.
she's having a you know either she's having a bad foot day or she would and I remember because that's what kind of caught me, and I was like, okay, she's not 100%, you know.
Oh no.
Yeah, she's not
I
like
couldn't I also did not qualify for FMLA because I had only worked for the company for 11 months and 2 weeks.
oh wow.
Yeah, so I didn't even once I just wasn't working after my PTO was used. I
Mhm,
was not
mhm.
making money. And
Wow, no.
yes. So
Wow, I didn't know that.
yes, from every side. Yes,
That's crazy.
I
That's
know.
crazy. That's crazy. I
I
didn't know
know.
that. You didn't even
I
say anything,
know.
you know. So, but
I
I didn't
never
know
talked
that. I
about
didn't know
that.
that you were. Yeah, I didn't know that you were not at that point. You weren't getting paid.
No, I got paid for my PTO,
Basically, that's what I'm saying. But
yeah.
by then, you
No.
haven't. Yeah, that's like I don't know if you had negotiated before you started over there. Because for many of us, remember how we tried to negotiate our packages for vacations, blah, blah, blah. Listen, I've been working in this industry for over 20 years, so there's no way you're going to give me 2 weeks of vacation,
Yeah.
all that kind of stuff. So then you get your PTO, but you had to accumulate it anyway. And so I'm not
Yeah. But
assuming
I
you had a
never
lot. Yeah, probably not a
well,
lot.
I hadn't even worked there a year. So I normally didn't take off work hardly ever.
Mm, mm.
That's just how I am. So I probably had a week, to use, and that's about it. And so then I went, another 7, 8 weeks with no pay. And so, Keith paid the house payment, which was a lot.
Mm.
And
Oh,
paid,
nice house.
yeah,
Nice
yeah,
house. That's what
we had
happens. You put your house in a nice community, and it's pretty much a house. So that's what happens.
it is.
You
Woo,
go pay the papa for that.
I'm telling you, woo, it was something else.
Nah,
So
that is okay. So you come back. It took you about how many months? You said about 11 months to get back. Because I remember. And when did they move you over to us to Lakes for permanently? It was like when did you come down
they
to Lakes?
kept me at Lakes after I got out of the coma. Michael
Oh,
just
yeah.
kept me there with y'all, so
Yes.
you could watch over me until January of 2017. Dave wife to
When he
Fort
came.
Lauderdale. Yes, and then
Yeah.
he said, come switch with me because it's by your house." I didn't want to go
Mm.
because I had chosen Fort Lauderdale or Lauderdale Lakes as my home campus
Right.
out of all of them. That was my
Yeah.
favorite campus. And that's where I wanted Michael to put me.
Was all our favorite campuses. Because by the way, just for posterity's sake, the craziest campus in Florida, meaning that we had the most interesting students there and the most interesting experiences. But I think that we had the right people in place to kind of like wrestle that deer, and we were making it. Just a little bit of background, we've dedicated much of our lives to the for-profit vocational school, technical school industry in terms of building people's lives. I think between the two of us, we have probably educated tens of thousands of students in different organizations. Kim has been loyal to one organization longer than I was, way longer than I think you were with Corinthian for how long? Literally, like maybe 2 decades. How long were you with Corinthian?
Just about, I joined Corinthian about the same time as you, about 2007. And then I left in 2014, about 2014 to go to Florida. But I worked for an organization before joining Michael and all of them with FCC. So, and then now I've worked, Lord, I've worked at several,
well, that's
several organizations.
I always say
One
that's the nature of the nature of the industry. But
I was a regional, and then they shut down.
So let me ask you, having taken us through this, how are you now? How are you feeling? Have you recovered fully from all the effects of that, the mind, the fogginess, the body. You're at 100% and you feel like you're at 100%. So tell us that before we kind of go to the next thing.
Okay. I would say my mind, 100%. Like I'm back to the way you had me, July 2016, pre-toxic shock. Okay. So I'm fast thinking. I can analyze anything. I try my hardest to outthink everyone around me. That's just my nature, not in a bad way, but always trying to solve problems. As far as, I would say, whenever that happened to me, it pushed me into, now I'm going to share with you because y'all are men, it pushed me into menopause.
Oh,
And
really?
I saw menopause when I was in the coma, but I went from just being normal to being all the way shut down. So to me, that has had effects, like I have to be careful how much I eat, even more than I used to. I've always eaten healthy. I don't like sodas. I don't like sweets. I don't eat fast food. I've always eaten very healthy, but now I have to fight with that. But I feel energetic and I feel, and I'm very grateful to still be here and to try to help people in their lives.
Yeah, it was you're a miracle. Like I said, that was a near-death experience.
Yes, it was.
That was a near-death experience. I think that when I think of ones that I have experienced, like near-death, yours is always at the top. Because I was there, and I've seen how you can literally be talking to somebody 1 minute, and the person be nearly dead the next. It happened right in front of me. Like I can say, like, and I remember telling Vui about this, and I was telling, I said, I was talking to literally, I said, she's always, she would hear me, oh, Kim, and I was like, we're doing our Friday thing. She's sitting there, blah, blah, blah. Next minute, I'm looking at her and I'm like, what the heck is going on? And then next I hear the woman's, in a coma. And I just I couldn't reconcile those things. I was like, I was in the school, I was in my office telling Eric, Tamika, telling Francine, you saw her. We were in here, we were talking. She was, blah, blah. And then you guys left, and and I remember they were just, you remember how it is. They left and they left. People, kind of like left the school that day. It was like everybody had
It's
gone,
a
and we were
Friday, I
doing
think.
what we do Friday. I had literally like nowhere to go usually for me because I spend all my weekends alone anyway, at the house. So it was like, I might as well work until it's dark. That used to be my mentality. I might as well work, and then I'd be coming in on Saturday morning anyway to do some work because that's how I keep myself busy. But that just kept playing in my head. Kept playing in my head that's just how people die. Just like that.
Happens fast.
Yeah. And so what lasting lessons did this experience give you in terms of just people and how you view the world, and what perspectives has it changed for you?
I think it's made me more self-aware, just of my own body, my mind, who I am as a person, perspective. I appreciate every day that I live. I think I already was kind of like that a little bit prior, but it's given me even more of an appreciation. And I'm very, very passionate about providing opportunities to other people, because if I don't speak out in today's world, if I don't speak out, nobody's going to speak out.
Right.
They're just going to keep their head down and keep making their money and doing whatever. But sometimes if I make other people uncomfortable, that's their issue. In my heart, I know I try to do what's best every day so that when I lay my head down at night, I can rest easy. But I'm much more self-aware. I think it
You're
taught
freezing. Yeah,
kids
you're
to
freezing.
appreciate me.
All right, we're having a little of
Even
technical difficulty.
Are-
Yeah, you're going in and out, Kim. So, um,
oh yeah,
you're,
you're freezing too, Sonica.
I'm freezing really on your end. Are we freezing? Both freezing,
Yes,
huh?
but it might. It's
Yeah.
oh, now you're good. I can see you.
Yeah, now you're frozen.
You're
You keep.
freezing a little bit.
Yeah. Okay, check your bars on your check your Wi-Fi over there where you are. I'm gonna check mine too over here. Take a quick
Oh my,
quick see.
I'm down in Brownsville, Texas.
Okay.
Yeah,
Okay.
I'm in Brownsville, Texas. So
Okay.
sometimes the Wi-Fi gets messed up. It says it's
Okay, you're
connected
back.
and it's
You're in and
secure.
out. Yeah, you're back a little bit. Okay, so you I
Okay.
think yeah, I agree with you with the passion and with the changing lives and with the making people, you know, the story of my life, always making people in our industry uncomfortable, because my main goal is also, you know, that we give value for money. We take, you know, our industry has always focused on specific clientele, and those are the people that aren't, they need the opportunities but they may not have the money. And the fact that we target that group is, we have a larger responsibility to ensure that we're doing right by them. And you know me, I'm willing to go to bat and fight anybody for that argument. I don't care whether you threaten to fire me or you do fire me. Ultimately, as long as like you, as long as I can put my head on my pillow and sleep with
Yep.
a clean conscience, I give zero. I have up to today. In fact, it's just that I don't curse on my show. But you know, if anybody in the industry is watching, and we've had experiences, you know me. At the end of the day, I don't care what you say, what you do. If you're not doing right by the students, you're gonna have the problem. And that's just the way I see
It's
it.
called karma.
That's how it is. And
It's called karma. To
I've
Yeah.
lost many a job for the things I wasn't willing to do. Um, and gotten many a job for the things that I was willing to do. So I'm willing to live with that sacrifice, whether it's affected me in my pocket, affected me on my resume, or affected me. But God is good, and God has always looked out for me, and has always been able to keep me on my feet. So I don't worry about that. But back to you, because you just happened to say something that gives it. So how's Noel? How has he taken it? What was, you know, did you ever reflected on that experience with him, the wife? How's Keith? How the little boys? You know, how did everybody else come? How did your supporting cast, your sister, your friend, how did your supporting cast come out of that?
Noel and Malia moved to Salt Lake City, Utah, and he entered University of Utah, and he was going to be a lawyer and then get a master's in, I don't know, some kind of real estate development stuff. But after about a year, he says he doesn't like people to try to brainwash him. And he's very bright. He surpassed me many years ago. So he just got his master's in real estate development. And I actually, when I worked for Steiner Education, which is, I think you have schools Cortiva out there, or
Yes.
y'all use.
This is yeah, we spoke about the Cortivas there. We
Yeah.
got Cortiva up. It used to be Baltimore Massage, I think. Cortiva Baltimore.
Yes, it used to be, and then they combined all of them, and there was like 29 of them. But I worked for them briefly for about a year. During that time period when I was healing, I actually was able to like fly to Salt Lake and see the schools there in Utah and stay with Nola and Malia. And then I'd fly back to Florida, and then I'd fly to Texas to the Texas schools. So that was a fun time period as I was healing. We sold our big house in Florida And I have a job here in Texas. And Keith has a whole new career, which I think he's having fun doing because, he's always worked so hard, physically and mentally, like stressful. But now he just works for Safe Light, which is a auto glass company, and he goes out and he repairs your windshield. It is fun for him. So we're doing really well in Texas. I miss Austin a lot, so I drive there.
But you like Texas just in general. I mean, you're a Texas girl. You just love Texas in general.
Well, that's because usually in Texas, if somebody's going to screw you over, they're going to screw you over. I mean, it's like blunt, in your face, blah, blah, blah. In Florida, it was sketchy, even going to the grocery store. Okay. Yeah. It's a different environment, and maybe we had bad luck or whatever.
No, I just think Florida it's almost like an alternate reality.
Yes.
Because there's so much tourism and so many other people coming into Florida that the local Florida people have developed this dual personality thing. You know what I mean? Because
yes, I do.
You go near the water and everybody's friendly, wanting to meet you because everybody kind of does the touristy thing. Florida is the one place I can tell you where all you need to do is go close to the water, go sit at the bar, and somebody's going to talk to you. Because most of the people who are there are not from Florida.
The majority.
Exactly. Are not from Florida. Everyone's like, either a physical tourist or a professional tourist. Exactly. It's like a transit point. So you don't, it's not people trying to create lifelong relationships almost. You know what I mean? They're like, oh yeah, hey, let's have a good time. We can go drink it and blah, 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 blah. And then, you're going to go your way. And so I think what happens is that many Floridians learn to be fake, and undercover.
Yes. And I'm not good with that because I'm like very transparent. And if you don't like me, just don't like me, just for me, but don't try to do around the little corner, stab me in my back. And I really don't care if people like me or not, because I try my hardest to do what's right.
Really? And I think when you go through like the experience that you went through, at the end of the day, you want authenticity and genuineness around you. I don't, when you see death,
yes,
you recognize, I think, two things. One, your time. You don't have a lot of time. It can happen at any time. It can happen to anyone. And so, two, because of that, you want your interactions with people to be meaningful.
Yes, you do. And you don't have time. You feel like you don't have time to waste on fake, fluffy relationships. Right. I don't even want them. I mean, I want genuine people to be around people that truly care about me and my well-being and appreciate me. Appreciation is just as important as love at the stage of the game.
Yes. And I think we spend time, but we want to be appreciated. Like, there was a time when I really want to be appreciated, like for my work, because I think I would put in so much energy into work and trying to win and trying to get great outcomes for people, and all this kind of stuff. And so it was like, appreciate me. But like you said, when you're around sketchy appreciators,
yep,
you realize it's not authentic appreciation. It's more like, I appreciate you for what you can do for me. But I don't really appreciate, and then I also realize it's very superficial, because that's about what I do rather than who I am. If I can show up and just be me, broken, not perfect, I don't always say the right things. I don't always do the right things. As you know, I'm crazy. I'm funny. I just show up as I am. It's like, take it or leave it, And when people can appreciate you for that and embrace that and be like, you know what, we can deal with that because you're just being you, but we love you anyway. That's real appreciation, and I have that for you. I have that for you because we spent a lot of time in the trenches fighting the same enemies.
Yes.
You gave. I've always said if I were ever to be a president, I'd make you my UN ambassador, because one thing about Kim is Kim would always, she knew I could just go straight. When I was not happy and I didn't like something, I would just tell her if it was about the organization, if it was somebody in the organization, and she tempered me because I had the propensity to go and tell that person to their face. And it didn't matter who they were, whether they were my boss, whether they were, I had the propensity to say how I felt and keep it moving, because if I felt that it wasn't right, then but Kim always had this thing of being able to tell me, yeah, but how about if you said it this way?
I just softened the corners a little.
Right. And that's what I've always appreciated about you, that you would take my anger, my frustration, and help me channel it in a way that I learned, how, like you said, to soften the edges, because I can be a blunt object as well, like I can go around hitting things and looking, when things are broken, be like, did I break that, and keep moving. But thank you for that. Thank you for that. I really appreciate that about you.
You're welcome. Sonica, I just want to mention one thing. Whenever we were all there at Fort Lauderdale, if you reflect, we had an all-star team that Michael had created. I mean, we were like some of the best and most passionate in our industry, like because most people wouldn't have been able to handle the Lauderdale Lakes campus, but we handled it, I think, with grace, and we grew it to the biggest campus in the entire company out of all the schools, even California schools.
Yep.
And it was the most profitable, and the students were happy. I mean, all of that matters.
Right.
And it was the roughest demographic.
Roughest demographic.
Roughest.
Yeah. When we talk about, we're not talking just like rough. We're talking Florida rough,
We're talking about
Florida. Everybody can carry rough. It's almost like having a rough school in Texas where you don't know if the students are carrying or not.
Yeah, but there's only a couple. I mean, like I'm down here in the valley. These are like good people, like hardworking, honest people. Yes, our poverty rate is very high. They aren't used to making a lot of money. They need skills to advance. But in Fort Lauderdale, it was more like, I don't think most people have ever watched a girl pick up a security guard and slam them to the ground like we have. Like,
why you gotta remind me? Why you gotta remind me of that?
Picked up a man. A security guard with a gun and threw
I could do a whole episode. I could do a whole episode on things that I have seen and experienced students and students do. I mean, they are just stories of. I think maybe we'll do that. Maybe we'll like bring a whole bunch of industry people one day and just have people spew out their stories. Like, okay, tell me one of your crazy stories, and then because
there's so many.
There are so many in this industry, man. There are just so many, and when you go through, like I said, multiple schools, you collect. I might write a book about that. Actually, I might write a book. Stories, proprietary school stories. And just
I can have my own chapter. Okay.
Yes, and just have one after the other. But Kim, I want to thank you. We're on the hour, and I know you're a busy lady, and thank you so much for taking the time to come here and tell.
You're welcome.
Tell our audience about your story, and I am so glad you're alive. We have gone on to maintain this loving relationship that will last until we're both gone. Hopefully for you, if I die, they're gonna bury me in Zambia. I'm telling you that in advance.
So I'm going to Africa. My passport. I don't want to go.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm gonna go to
I'm just
Africa.
letting you know. I mean, I'm not afraid. I'm just letting you know you're gonna have to figure out. You're gonna figure out how you're gonna get there. But just letting you know that when you get the notice, you
Yes.
know that they might do one of those things where they'll have a service here. So if your money's tight, you can send your spirit to Zambia and do the service here. But I know your money won't be tight, so I'll see you in
Would you
Zambia.
stop? I'm trying to get back to that old status.
That's what I'm saying. You'll be fine. You'll be fine. I know you know how to count your zeros, so I'm not worried about you. You're pretty good.
Well, I want to see you before that. I want to see.
You're pretty good with the X's and O's, so I'm not worried about that. Just you're not afraid of work. That's the one thing. The fact that you're not afraid to work. Yes.
The Wholehearted Men Show. The Wholehearted Men Show. The Wholehearted Men Show.